Hello, I am Dr. Rashid Ahmed from the Department of Physics of Kohat University of Science and Technology. In the subject of particle physics with the course code PHY 452, we are at the lecture number 14 and the topic is quantum electrodynamics. Quantum electrodynamics is the quantum version of classical electrodynamics, which is the theory that describes the electromagnetic interaction between any two charged particles. That is, with the help of quantum electrodynamics, we can calculate the electromagnetic force between any two charged particles. In today's lecture, we will learn that how we can calculate by the method of so-called Feynman diagrams the strength of the electromagnetic force between any two charged particles. So, the basic procedure is that first we will describe the process, that is, which kind of interaction is happening between two charged particles, and then we will write an equation for that process, and then we will draw a so-called Feynman diagram for that process. At the end, when we have all the diagrams, we will use Feynman calculus to calculate the resulting electromagnetic interaction. So, but in today's lecture, we will only restrict ourselves to calculate or to draw the Feynman diagrams. For the actual calculations of electromagnetic force using Feynman rules will be done in the next lecture. So, we will start with the very basic example of primitive vortex. In primitive vortex, the process is that we have a charged particles which enters. So, consider that any kind of charged particle, and consider a situation that once there was a charged particle which was there, and then it emitted or absorbed a photon, and then it went away. So, this is a very basic process we call a primitive vortex, because there will be involved when we will draw a Feynman diagram for it, you will see that there will be a vortex involved in that diagram. So, first we write equation for this. So, if we put this statement in form of the equation, then this will read as that there was an electron which transformed into an electron plus photon. So, the electron came, it interacted with the photon, and then it went away. So, now we learn that how we can draw a Feynman diagram for it. So, for any particle like electron, we represented by a solid line with an arrowhead on it showing the time direction. So, in this case, all the time is vertically upwards. So, you can see that then that here is an electron which is coming here from somewhere. So, so all we are saying that there is an electron. And the next statement is that it either emits or absorbs a photon. So, photon is represented by this wavy line, zigzag line. So, electron coming in and it absorbs or emits another photon. For example, it emits a photon from itself, or it absorbs a photon coming from somewhere else. And then after this happening at this vortex, it goes away. And here you can see the arrow in the opposite direction. So, it is showing us that an electron coming in and then electron going away. So, this process is called a primitive vortex because only one vortex is involved over here, and in this Feynman diagram this process is a very simple process, but by combining such processes together we will be able to describe complicated and actual processes in the quantum electrodynamics. So, this example was meant to give you understanding of how to draw simple Feynman diagrams. So, now you know that we draw Feynman diagrams by using solid lines for the particles and wavy lines or zigzag lines for the mediators. So, this convention is changing from text to text. In literature you will find different kinds of convention, but it is the most often used convention where we use solid lines for particles, and for the mediators we use this zigzag line. So, now let us move towards a more complicated process. We call it Muller scattering. So, the process is that there are two electrons which enter. or they are kind of scattering between the two electrons. They emit or absorb an electron between them, and a photon, they emit a photon or absorb a photon between them, and then these two electrons go away. So in order to represent this by an equation, you can see that it is kind of scattering of two electrons. So two electrons interact with each other, and then the two electrons go away, and there is an interaction between them, electromagnetic interaction, with the help of a mediator called photon. In order to draw the Feynman diagram, so as you know that we will start with an electron coming in, but since we have two electrons, I will draw another one in this direction so that they can interact with each other or scatter each other. And since they have mediated a photon between them, so I have shown this Feynman line, which is a mediator or a photon between them. And after this, the first electron went away, and another electron also went away. So the incoming particles were two, that is electron, and outgoing particles were two, that is electron. And this in between mediator is kind of virtual particle, which is helped them to interact each other. So this Feynman diagram is actually a two vertex diagram. There is a one vertex over here and another vertex over here. So this is a more complicated diagram than the primitive vertex. So you can see that this is the first primitive vertex and another primitive vertex, and then we combine these primitive vertices to make a complicated process. So now you know that with the help of Feynman diagram, we are able to represent this process with the help of diagrams. This is a very helpful technique invented by Richard Feynman, that rather than using equations and formulae, we can use a diagram. So you can conceive any kind of process, you can draw a diagram for it, and then you can calculate force out of it. In today's lecture, I will not tell you that how to calculate the force. In today's lecture, we are only restricting ourselves to understand that how we can draw diagrams, but later on we will also learn that how we can calculate quantities from these diagrams. Okay, so this was the Muller scattering where two electrons interacted. Now I want to give you some other examples. For example, Bhabha scattering. In this process, we say that there is an electron and a positron which annihilate each other and form a photon, and then this photon in turn produces a new electron-positron pair. To show it from the equation, you can see that this is an electron and positron interacting, producing a photon, and then this photon is annihilated into the pair that is electron and positron. This process is called Bhabha scattering in particle physics, and if we show it with the help of diagram, Feynman diagram, so we say that there is an electron, there is a positron, this it's other way around. So you can see now this diagram will be going vertically up, so that the time direction is here, so that we can show that the antiparticle is going the other way around. And then we have a photon created, and then this photon is converted into a pair, electron and positron. So this is the Feynman diagram representing this process and this equation. So now you know that how you can conceive any process, and then it's very simple to draw a diagram. So far we are restricting to only two vertices, but in later slides we will see that we can go to the higher vertices as well, like 3 and 4 vertices. So the next example is a pair annihilation, a famous one. So pair annihilation is a process where electron and positron annihilate each other, and if you write in terms of equations, you see that an electron positron producing two photons, and if you draw a diagram for it, you can see electron positron coming in, and there is now another thing between them is called virtual particle, and they interact by some kind of virtual particle. The concept of virtual particle is that it actually is not measurable or is not detectable, but it somehow is acting between these two particles, facilitating the process. But since it does not lie on the inner lines or the outer lines, so that we cannot measure it, that's why we call it a virtual particle. So we get two photons at the end. So inputs are the incoming two electron and a positron, and then we get two photons, and this is the pair pair annihilation, where two electron and positron are annihilated into two photons, and this is the Feynman diagram for it. The next example is the pair production. In pair production, you know that two photons interact to produce electron and positron pair. To draw the Feynman diagram for this process represented in this equation, what we do that we draw two photons by these wavy lines, and then there is a virtual particle electron between them, and then we have two electron and positron pair produced at the end. So you see that this virtual particle is at play between these two vertices. Okay, the next example is the Compton scattering. In Compton scattering, an electron and photon scatter from each other, that is electron and photon coming in and electron photon going out, and they scatter from each other. The Feynman diagram is like this: electron photon coming in, virtual particle mediating, facilitating this process, and at the end we get another a different photon, not the same photon, and the electron. So this is a Compton scattering where an electron photon are scattered from each other. Then we can also have higher vertices, for example 3 or 4 vertices, and here we show that if we go towards 4 vertices case, in for example for the Muller scattering, then we can have such diagrams over here. For example, an electron, it's the same process, Muller's process, which we represented with the 2 vertices diagram, and now there should be another diagram as well. So all these diagrams we will at the end add up. For example, we will add the 2 vertex diagram plus the all possible 4 vertices diagrams, and then all possible 6 vertex diagrams, and so on. So all these diagrams we will add up together, and this was also the problem, because if you add up all these diagrams, then it probably is an infinite process. So we must stop somewhere. So in future lectures I will also tell you that how this problem was resolved, but at the moment just consider that in principle we shall add all the vertices diagrams. 2 vertex diagram we have already seen for the Muller scattering, then we should add a 4 vertex diagram. But the problem is there is not only one 4 vertex diagram, there could be many 4 vertices for diagrams, and so on, and 6 and so on. So for example, you can see that in this case we can have this 4 vertex diagram where an electron and Muller scattering, electron coming in, they exchange a photon between them, and then electron coming here, and then again exchange a photon between them, and at the end we get 2 electrons at the end. So this is called somehow a loop. So there was a loop created, and this is all virtual. So 2 electrons coming in and 2 electrons going out, but according to Feynman diagrams and gauge theories, we must add this process as well to at the end to calculate the total contribution in the Muller scattering. This is a higher order diagram, but we must add this diagram, and this was a problem, because if we keep on adding these diagrams, there are infinite of them. For example, think of this diagram. Here the same process can be represented by this 4 vertex diagram. So the same number of vertices are the same, 1 2 3 4, but the diagram is different. But this different diagram must also be added. So now we have 1 2 vertex diagram, 2 4 vertices diagrams that are contributing to the Muller scattering, and this is not the only one possibility. You can think of the possibility and you must add that. For example, the next possibility could be like this one. So this is again a 4 vertex diagram, and there are different vertices involved over here. So at the end we must add all these vertices. So what I am trying to tell you, that in any kind of process we must add all vertices diagrams, that is 2 and higher order vertices, but we will see that these higher order vertices diagrams can be neglected. That's make our life easy. So now I go to the next slide and show you that what are the basic rules for creating these diagrams and what these diagrams actually mean. So these are some important points. First of all, the Feynman diagrams are symbolic. So do not consider these trajectories are the real trajectories of the particles. These are just symbols. These lines are just symbols representing some kind of particles, and this is not like electron started here and ended here. It is not like this, but it is just, this line is just a symbol, and this arrow is just a symbol showing us that there was once an electron coming in, and this electron interacted with the photon and going out. So understand that these Feynman diagrams are just the symbolic diagrams which help us calculating the electromagnetic force between two charged particles. The second is that vertical dimension in our convention was time, and the horizontal spacings between the two particles do not correspond to actual trajectories, as I explained. And the next point is that each Feynman diagram actually stands for a particular number. So whenever we draw a 2-vertex diagram or 4-vertex diagram or any other diagram, it is actually correspond to some kind of number, and this number we must calculate using Feynman rules. So which can be calculated using so-called Feynman rules, which we will learn in the next lectures. And then once it is calculated, you also remember that these horizontal spacings do not correspond to actual trajectories in time, and we need to calculate the contributions from each vertex. And method of calculations, how we will do calculations. Here I just explain a few points, and the next lectures I will in detail show you some examples with the help of which you can make calculations. So suppose one wants to analyze a certain physical process like a Muller process or Bhabha scattering or pair annihilation or pair production, whatever. So first of all, one draws all relevant diagrams, 1 vertex, 2 vertex, and 3, 4 vertex, all vertex diagrams we draw for it, and then we calculate, then one calculates contribution of all the diagrams using Feynman rules and add them up. And then the sum total of all the Feynman diagrams represent a physical process. And each diagram, it is very important point that each diagram introduces a factor that is called the fine structure constant, E square by h bar c. Now this is the fortunate thing, because this is a very small number coming from each vertex, and now if we have adding up them, so the total contribution will be reducing, because it's a very small number, and addition of those small numbers will reduce the contribution. I mean, because it's a very small number, so very small contribution coming in, actually reducing the overall size. That's why the higher order diagrams can be neglected. So since the fine structure constant is very small number, therefore higher order diagrams can be ignored. So in today's lecture we learned that how to draw Feynman diagrams for the simple processes between any two charged particles. So this is the method invented by Richard Feynman in order to calculate the force between two charged particles, and we will see that this we will extend this process to other forces as well. Today's we learned the example of quantum electrodynamics, but this we can build upon this the quantum chromodynamics as well. But in today's lecture we shown some very simple examples with the help of which we can draw the Feynman diagrams and calculate the force. Thank you very much.